Blockchain Bullz, and today we're going to talk about what's going on with the market. This is on everyone's mind. Are we in the everything bubble that we've kind of been waiting for the last 2 to 3 years? Or is this a healthy correction thanks to the Fed? And that's what we need to find out right now. People are freaking out. They are concerned what is going on with the market. And that's what we're going to talk about. So is this an everything bubble and we've got some serious problems coming, or are we headed towards a healthy correction? This was a necessary step back so that we can step forward. Or was this the moment where inflation finally deals the death blow? Now, one thing I will always say that you need to know is that there's always someone selling at the top. So when someone sells at the top, or when they've become a seller instead of a holder, what do you think they want to have happen? They want the prices to go very low as they can possibly go, so that they come back into the market or any market with more purchasing power. For example, if someone sold their Bitcoin at 65,000, let's just say they're a perma bull. I'm going to use a guy by the name of John Doe. Let's just use John Doe for an example. He's a perma bull. He's always talking about Bitcoin, but all of a sudden he starts talking about being in a bubble or something's going to pop. Next thing you know, he keeps driving down the price. He keeps sending out negative talking points because he's trying to drive the price down so that they can come back in with more purchasing power. There are people out there who do this stuff, okay? So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at some of these talking heads or these pundits out there. They've probably sold if they're bringing on the negative context and they want the price to go down so that they can come back in with more. So always remember, there's someone who sells the top. That's what causes the cascade down. The only thing that sucks is that these people who are new to the market or new buyers, whatever you want to call it, they get stuck holding the bag and they don't know what to do. So as the price continues to push down, what do you think they do? They panic, and then they start asking all their friends, hey, look, should I sell? Should I sell? What should I do? I mean, you know how many people I've got asking me that very question? Not necessarily asking, but they're saying, hey, do I sell now to buy back in later? So they think if I sell at 36 and it goes down to 30, then I re-enter at 30. But I think that's high risk. Every time that I've been in the markets now, especially with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, primarily since 2015, but more seriously since 2017 on, I found that the best behavior that I had was holding still. Okay, I did panic sell one time when we had the flash crash in March, because I was like, whoa, how low is this thing going to go? When Bitcoin went down to about 3,600 or something around there in March 2020, and I sold. I didn't sell everything. I just sold like 1 or 2% or about 20% of my portfolio. And next thing you know, that was the bottom, and it turned back around. Ever since then, I said, no, I will not panic sell. So this kind of stuff happens to people. Thanks to everyone who's already hitting the likes and letting us know you're here. I see you guys, Mark, Titus, Jay McGust, Music Guitar, Rakudu, and Fresh Tuna. What do you guys all think's going on? But anyway, let's talk about this so that we can really get some information here. So, you have multiple different asset classes, right? You have you have housing, you have stock, you have crypto, you have commodities, precious metals, many different markets, and you need to be able to know what's going on with all of those. So let's dial this in and talk about some things that are driving this market price action as we know it right now. One thing I want to say that you need to pay attention to, whale alert. So we had this 4,000 BTC. I believe this was moved to the Coinbase exchange. So someone moved 4,000 BTC. Okay, that's $153 million worth of Bitcoin to the Coinbase exchange. That was done 7 hours ago. So you got to watch these whales as they're moving because those are the ones who are going to be doing some funky things. Now, typically, someone with $153 million in Bitcoin or 4,000 Bitcoin doesn't use Coinbase. Maybe they use Coinbase Pro, but something like this, when you see 4,000 BTC, is usually the exchange. Now, do we know for a fact? No, but if you did a little bit of research, you might be able to find out based on this Blockstream public access ID, but it says unknown. So 4,000 BTC moving 7 hours and 47 minutes ago. That's big news. You can see Friday the 21st of January 2022. So keep an eye on that. Now let's talk about this market situation, about this everything bubble, how to identify the everything bubble. And one thing I would like to say is, whenever you are blowing up a balloon or a bubble or doing something along the lines of blowing something up, you're inflating it, right? And what do we have in the economy right now? Inflation. So the word inflation has multiple different meanings, but when you're blowing a bubble up, you're inflating it. And what happens when you overinflate it? It pops. Okay, so what you have is this debate about, are we in the bubble that's going to pop because of the inflation that we've seen? Now, here's the problem that we've got going on, is that people who are living, renting their houses, or they just got into a new rental situation, or they just recently bought, is their salary, these wage earners, is the wage earner salary keeping pace with the price of rent? Here in Phoenix, Arizona, we've watched it inflate almost 50%. Okay, so homes that were or apartments that were once renting for, $1,600, now going for $2,500. Apartments that were going for $1,200, now going for $2,000. You've seen this increase in price across the board, but did they get a 50% pay raise? No, and this is the problem with inflation that I see. And for a long time, the economy was able to get away with this because they had a eviction memorandum in place. Now, I think it's still in place. I don't know the exact facts behind that, but those are things you have to keep in mind. But when it comes to inflation, inflation is the rate at which the value of the currency is falling, and consequently, the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. Okay, so the currency strength, US dollar strength, hasn't really fallen, but the general level of prices and goods has gone up, in particular rent, also known as cost of living. Thanks to the 12 people who hit the likes. I see you guys in the comments. I'm waiting to see if anyone's got any more opinions on if they think we're in the everything bubble or what. But I see some people saying they're scared. I understand people are concerned. Even if we look at the market right now, you could see the current price of Bitcoin is 36,364. It's very interesting because yesterday, just to kind of go back to something that I found, 36,000, we're almost down to 35 now. So you can see it keeps dipping. Let's just take a look at the 3 month. Let's take a look at 3 months. This is the problem that we have. We're breaking support too often. We hit support here, okay? Then we formed a newer low, a lower low. And we keep forming these lower lows. We went sideways for a while and we just couldn't get enough momentum. But yesterday something interesting happened. We hit 43,348. It looked like we were headed to 44,000, and then instantly, like literally, that happened at 8 a.m. my time, which is Mountain Standard Time. By 1 p.m., we were down to 42,000, and then from there, by 4 a.m. this morning, we were at 38,000. So how did we go from this pump here, which if you look at the 1 month, you could see that little pump right there, to all of a sudden this cascade event? Was it an exchange testing the market to see if we had any strength to it, if they could boost the volume, if the volume was ever there, or what happened? Why did that just pump and then dump right there? Someone tell me if they have any idea. But I would say it appears as though some exchanges were the whales that made this happen. So, but this is not just happening in cryptocurrency; it's also happening in other markets. If you look at the stock market, for example, all across the board, we have a tech stock sell-off. Amazon is around $2,800. Amazon for the longest time was around $3,200, $3,300. Twitter, $34. Look at Virgin Galactic; they're way down. You got Snap down, you got PayPal down. A lot of the tech stocks are down. Facebook and others. Now, if you look at crypto, you see the same thing, Red Sea over here, okay? So we were kind of due for a correction. Now, here's where I kind of hold short on suggesting that it's anything more than just a healthy correction, is because we needed something like this to help to correct this market and slow it down. So the Fed coming in, raising interest rates, which is the number one reason why people say this is happening, it was kind of inevitable. So in a healthy market, something like this is to be expected. So what we're trying to decide is this the catalyst that overinflated the market that ultimately leads to the bubble pop, or do we go through about a week or two of hard times before we kind of come back to reality, and then we begin our descent in a healthy way back up again? So that's kind of where we're at. What we're trying to decide is this a healthy market making a healthy pullback, or is this the everything bubble where the housing bubble finally has the time to pay the piper, the tech stocks have to pay up, or the big event that causes everything to go down? Another problem that we have in cryptocurrency in particular is the centralization of Bitcoin. Now, whenever the subject of how centralized Bitcoin is, it always goes to mining. But no one really mentions the centralization of the Bitcoin that's already been mined. So we've had a lot of Bitcoin that's been mined, and who are the big holders of the Bitcoin that's been mined? MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor has bought up a lot. El Salvador has bought up a significant amount, but they're still not one of the biggest holders. So you have exchanges like Coinbase, you have Binance, you have Square with Jack Dorsey, you have the Winklevoss twins. They're one of the biggest holders ever, right? From Gemini. So you have this centralization with maybe like 10 key players in there who hold a lot of Bitcoin, and they're not making much room for the institutions to come in. So this is a problem that exists, but they always go back to how centralized is Bitcoin mining? Well, Bitcoin mining, it is a problem about the centralization, but when's the last Bitcoin going to be mined? In 2200, 22 something. So yes, Bitcoin mining centralization is the problem, but think about all the centralization that we have with already minted coins. Okay, so both a problem, but no one really talks about MicroStrategy owning way too much Bitcoin and that becoming toxic for the overall market, in particular getting the adoption up there. Okay, so I see some comments. Someone said Netflix down 25%. Netflix down 25%. That's a big thing, especially if you're invested in. That's a huge sell-off. I would say didn't Netflix just recently raise the price of their subscription? So that's a problem there. I don't know how much that's associated with it, but anytime a company raises the price of using the service so much so, and they get a nice knockdown by stock prices and people leaving the platform, that's a good thing, because that's you using your purchasing power to fight back against overinflated prices and things that are not fair or justice. Someone says, what's your guess? Where's the BTC bottom? So when it came to me guessing the BTC bottom, here's some of the things that I was analyzing or taking into consideration. I go all the way back to, let's just say May. Okay, so May, we hit a bottom around in July, we hit 29,000. So May was like the big sell-off event where we went down to the same levels, 35. We went down to 34. We hovered around. We bounced a couple times, went back up to 40, and then dumped again in July. And then we finally recovered. So if you just look at that, May, June, July, that was about 3 months of kind of running sideways and down, ultimately reaching the bottom around 29,807. So I would call that a previous low that's reasonable to suggest is a strong support around about $29,000. We saw that also in January. So it seems like every 5 or 6 months, the market is kind of touching back down on 30,000. Now the question is, will we go to 30,000 on this one and touch that support? So I thought that because there was so much more Bitcoin purchased by Square, by El Salvador, by MicroStrategy, that bottom should have gone up. So I was suspecting that a strong support level would have been anywhere between 35 to 40,000. Obviously, right now, if we look at the price, 36,375. Let's see, 36,375. Still, we're down 11%. We're around that area. But do I think this is the bottom? No, because we keep reaching lower lows. So it's looking concerning, because you can see these lower lows right here at 46. Then we reach another low around 40, 41. we keep running sideways. So we keep kind of cascading down. That's that downward trend that we're kind of concerned about, right? I mean, if you look at it more specifically here, every time the market hits a new low, bounces up, and then breaks that support, that's when you're looking at some problems. So right now we just broke support at that 36. If we were to break $30,000 or $29,000 at that support level, if we broke 29 and we went to say 27 or 25, the next level of super strong support that I think is our strongest level of support, hands down, is probably going to be around this level right here. Obviously 10,000 is where our strongest support is, but I thought we formed reasonable support at 20. It's just not as strong as 10,000. Now, if Bitcoin did go to 10,000, man, if Bitcoin went to 10,000, I would have to say I'm going to do everything I can to buy another full Bitcoin, okay? Even on top of whatever I also hold. So I would look at that as an opportunity, but it would be kind of concerning. It would definitely be concerning. Ape says, seems like live ages since I caught your live stream. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I wasn't making very many videos because I was traveling around with Island Hopper. And when I'm in Mexico and I'm in Costa Rica and I'm in Colombia and Dominican Republic, one thing I learned was they didn't really have very good internet. So I was just like, you know what? There's plenty of other YouTubers out there making content. So I kind of took a little bit of a break because I think, you know, if you watch someone day in, day out, you know, they just get stale. Like if you look at BitBoy Crypto, for example, I mean, he's run out of things to say, so he just kind of keeps the same narrative over and over, and he's kind of chasing his tail because he's not refreshing anymore. I'm not saying anything negative about him. I'm just saying that because he's always posting, like, that's a dude who needs to take a break. He's a dude who needs to take a break for his own mental health and for his audience too. Maybe let some other people take some thunder and then come back after he's refreshed and recharged the batteries. But he's burning the wick at both ends, that dude. But you have a lot of YouTubers doing that. So I learned that as someone who's making YouTube videos in 2017. Sometimes you need to take a step back, go do other things, and then come back into the market. It's not like you lose the wisdom that you gain from the process. Fresh Tuna says, Colombia internet is not great. I live here, but if you're in a big city, it is good. Yeah, I mean, if you're in like a Hilton hotel or a Marriott hotel, they have reasonably good internet. But overall, I just wanted a break. That's what it comes down to. But another thing that I wanted to point out is this mortgage crisis that I think we're in. The mortgage, they did a bunch of refinancing. If you bought your home in 2018, you're in good position, especially if you're refinanced on top of that, you're sitting real pretty. But if you are a renter right now, it is not good. If you are a buyer in homes, you are buying at peak pricing. And what do we know about buying the top of any market? When you're buying the top of any market, what does conventional wisdom tell you is to be expected when you buy the top? Does someone want to tell me what happens when you buy the top or what you need to know about buying the top? You're not buying anything on sale. You're buying at peak pricing. So that means that market is going to, at some point, go up to a point where it no longer goes up any higher and it comes back down, right? Because what goes up comes down. Now, you could be like Australia. I think Australia's had a bull market overall as a country economy for 20 plus years. But they're a new economy. They also benefited greatly from minerals and other things like not lithium, but some gold. They have other mines out there. They do a lot of mining in Australia, and they're a small population. So they're an anomaly situation. To compare Australia's economy to the United States, it's just not really comparable. I mean, I think 1/15 or 1/20 of the population of the United States, which does matter. It does matter. So I would say these are the things that I've learned. Number one is be careful getting into a position of panic or trying to time the market. I'm not sitting here saying don't sell. I'm not trying to give you financial advice at all. I'm just saying that you have to be aware of trying to time the market is one of the hardest things you can possibly do, because people who try to time the market, they usually end up regretting trying to time it, because unless you are the market maker, you won't be able to time the market. So have any of you guys ever had any success catching the top or catching the bottom? All you can do is once it gets to a certain price point, you have to assess it and say, this is my entry, or this is where my risk tolerance goes out the window, to where I can no longer hold and I will sell, whether it's at the top or the bottom. Jan, what's going on, man? He says, nice to see you. Where have you been? All our small cap gems have crashed except INXT. Yeah, I mean, those small cap gems, again, you're not supposed to marry those, right? I don't think any of you guys got married to your small cap gems, but the big thing is they all had their day. They all had their moments. Most of them, not every single one of them, but most of them had their moments where they went up to where, if you look at, what is it? I'm forgetting what it was called. OVR. Sorry about that. OVR. Remember when we first started talking about OVR, it was 13 cents. What is OVR today? Does anyone remember? But OVR was one of those perfect examples of getting in early, and it actually held its value. Let's see if we can get OVR right here. It's at $1.89, but it went up as high as 3.21. So we got into it at 13 cents, went up to 3.21. INXT was obviously down at $2. Right now it's still holding its value. That one will sell off. In fact, that one's an easy trade every time because that one follows a similar trend. It always goes up to around like $20 to $30 and then comes back down to like $2 or $3 or sometimes even $1. And I've noticed that after a sell-off, it always kind of holds onto its value and then it just kind of dumps. And when it sells off hard. But that's how low cappers are. I don't know why that one particular does that trend. But if INXT went down to like $3 or $2, yeah, I'm back in that project. So, I mean, there's just some interesting things. Yeah, OVR right now is, if OVR went down to, I don't know, 10 cents or 20 cents in a bear market, yeah, I'm buying more OVR for sure. I'm getting back into OVR at 10 cents or 20 cents. But if this is the thing with holding on to low cap gems, because when those things go up, are you getting married to it? Or are you thinking it's going to be the next Chainlink? It's like buying Chainlink at 35 cents in 2017. When it goes up to $30, what are you doing? Are you holding Chainlink? Are you like, man, I'm going to keep holding on to Chainlink forever? Or do you take profits? So it's like when you go 60x, when you go 20x, when you go 100x on a return, are you still holding that, or are you selling that bag? But but we've had many projects. It's just we've had some that even went down. But when these 100x go up, if you get into a project that goes 100x, it offsets the other 99 that didn't do anything, because then you're automatically even, right? But usually when you invest in 100 small cappers, I mean, in a bull market, almost all of them are going to go up, but some are just going to rage through the roof with returns, right? So small cap is, when you invest in small cap gems, you're basically looking at it like a venture capitalist, right? And we've talked about this a couple times on this channel, which is just in a small scope, you take $10,000 and you find 10 projects and you invest $1,000 in 10 different low cap gems, right? And all you're looking for is the next OVR kind of situation or the next INXT situation, because that alone will offset the whole investment. If one of those goes 80x, you've turned $1,000 into $80,000, which is way over the $10,000 total investment you did in the 1,000 times 10, right? Does that make sense? So you're really just kind of looking for one or two that win and 8 can lose. But in a bull market scenario, all the low cappers go up no matter what, because the market is just bombastic. Now, how much longer are we going to have this ridiculously overly inflated market where things just go up and up and up? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much longer this boomtown's going to be there, but it's been there for us quite a few times in the past. If you're holding on to low caps and the market does end up going bearish, you will lose most of your money. That typically happens. I mean, unless it's like a Chainlink situation, most of the low cappers get drained hard, like to pennies. Okay, so do keep that in mind. But people who are, I would not recommend low cap gem hunting or investing for newbies. If you're a newbie, you don't need to be playing around with lotto tickets, because right now you need to be understanding the market. I would say the best thing for a newbie who gets into crypto at any given time is staking. From my experience, staking has been my favorite thing for a newbie to do. Buy Algorand, stake it. Buy Polkadot, stake it. Those have been my favorite things to do. So like when I'm getting people into crypto, I'm talking about the passive income that comes along with staking. We'll see. Someone said buy and stake Hex. I actually haven't entered into any of Richard Hart's platforms. I don't invest in any of Richard Hart's stuff. It's not that I want to say I don't want to say anything negative. It's just I don't know. That's a character who I don't know what to make of him. I don't know if he's legit or not, honestly. So I've just heard mixed bag on both. I hear people who love Richard Hart. They think he's fantastic. They think they could trust him to the moon and back. And then I've heard people who say they can't trust him. But for me, I'd rather just miss that boat. So we'll see. Any chance Engine and Efinity to go up? I would say if you wanted to ask me what I just recently invested in, Cube. Okay, it's actually at half a billion dollar market cap, which is kind of high in a bear market setting, but long term, I think Cube is one of those projects. I would like to find more projects like Cube, the VR augmented reality kind of metaverse platforms that are up and coming. That's Beak says I don't trust. He says he does not trust Richard Hart. I mean, that's the thing. It's not that I don't trust him or trust him. It's just more or less I would just rather not have to worry about it. He could be. I mean, he seems smart. The thing is, sometimes people try to use their experience as like this, so they talk over you. So it's like when they're talking over you, they sound smart, but you're also like, I don't know if that just made sense. If he's like too smart for me, because people think that if someone talks over you, that they're too smart for you, so that's why you didn't get it, but that person's so smart, so you invest and follow them. Sometimes I wonder if he does that, where he talks over people, so they're like, okay, I didn't understand that, but that sounded good, so we'll just go ahead and follow it. It's kind of like Vitalik, right? Like when you're listening to Vitalik, most of what he says to the average person doesn't make sense. But you're like, man, he seems really calculated. Like it seems like all the gears in his mind are going and he's on it. So people just are like, well, I don't understand what he just said, but I'll invest in this guy. And so far, Ethereum has proven to be an incredible thing, although they can't get Ethereum 2.0 up and running. So we'll see. I mean, this is the world that we live in. When you invest in these asset classes, you're looking for big gains, but you could get big losses, and we just want to be the people who get the big gains, right? No, Richard Hart has never hurt my feelings. No, I don't want to make it out like he's not a good guy. So, it's just when you guys are asking me about Hex, that's how I feel about it. It's that I would just as soon rather miss that boat than invest in it. But I do hope for all you guys who are invested in any of Richard Hart's projects, whether it be PulseX or Hex, that thing takes off and is honest and is good, and that everything that he says and that project intends to do, they follow through on it. That would be what I would hope, is that you guys, that he is who he says he is, and his projects are incredible and they're innovative and very profitable for the investors. That would be my hope. But like I said, it's nothing against the guy. It's just I've got other things that I'm invested in. Like I'm big on Algorand. I'm big on. I like what I saw with Matic. I like what I saw with the NFT platforms. I like what I see with CNFTs. And I don't like anything on Ethereum right now because everything's miner fees that are through the roof. It's like, I'm surprised if it wasn't for Ethereum locking up all of those coins in the staking pool like they did. I mean, it's a no-brainer at this point. I mean, between Solana, Polygon, Matic, Polkadot, Cardano. I mean, they were way cheaper. Why would you mint an NFT on Ethereum and pay $450 in minting fees for something that you might not ever sell when you could mint it on Cardano for $1? I mean, what do you think, that every person who's going to buy this NFT is going to go out there and pay $450 because you're on a legacy platform like Ethereum? So we'll see. Yeah. Anyways, guys, just wanted to make this quick video. Thanks for tuning in and hitting the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.